We've seen that changing the way we drive can improve transportation efficiencies. But what if we change the way we build and live in our cities? That's the subject of our next story, Searching for Utopia. We'll travel to the United Arab Emirates and discover a city rising out of the desert. Let's take a look.
From the beginning, we've dreamed of utopia. A place where we could live in harmony with each other and in balance with nature. Many have imagined it, tried to design it, but the dream always slipped away. Then I heard they were building a new city called Masdar, near Abu Dhabi, in the Arabian desert. It sounded like an unlikely place for utopia, and I wanted to see it.
The last half century has been a pretty bad time for the making of cities, mostly. The natural tendency has been to accommodate to the automobile more than anything else. Try walking around Abu Dhabi. It's impossible. You have to take a car everywhere. Dubai, the same thing. They are among the least pedestrian-friendly places in the world. They are not green by any other measure either. And these are not easy things to fix.
Masdar is still under construction, and it doesn't look like much from the highway. But they claim it's going to redefine the way cities are designed, built, and powered.
Masdar City in Abu Dhabi will be the city of the future and the role model for the world.
Once you see what they've envisioned for this utopian city, it's very impressive. It's carbon neutral, pedestrian friendly, and powered by renewable energies. But I do notice we're going to have to change our relationship with cars.
Welcome to Masdar City. أهلا بكم في مدينة مصدر.
We are driving in the bowels of Masdar City in an electric transportation system. It's slightly unnerving to sit in this for the first time. And where are we going?
The first big move the architects at Foster and Partners made was to put all transportation underneath the city, leaving the streets of Masdar totally free of cars. The place reminded me of a medieval city, and actually, many design elements are adapted from ancient Arabic towns and villages.
It's all about looking back into history to move forward. There's some very, very simple ideas that have a huge impact. This is a pedestrian zone, there's no cars here. This has enabled us to push our streets together to take the advantage of the shade, channel the cooling breezes through. The whole scale here is based on the human being, it's not based on the motor car. As soon as you lift up the pedestrian plane by 7 meters, you've suddenly captured this breeze. What you can see here in the balconies, we've got a modern interpretation of an ancient Arabic screen. What we must avoid is direct sunlight hitting any piece of glass. As soon as the sun hits the glass, the heat's transferred into the building and we have to use more energy to cool it down.
Can this really make all that much of a difference?
Yeah, absolutely. For example, downtown Abu Dhabi, 60-meter wide streets, black asphalt, mirrored, reflective buildings, no relief from the sun. On a day in September, the air temperature in both places was 39 degrees. In Abu Dhabi, the temperature measured at the asphalt was 57 degrees. In Masdar, the temperature measured on the ground is 33 degrees, so we've actually lowered the air temperature. We're trying to do as much as possible with as little as possible.
These simple design moves cut air conditioning needs by 60%. But this place is also technically very sophisticated. The roof panels not only provide shade, They also generate electricity. And the walls themselves are made of glass reinforced concrete, literally sand taken from the desert. Everything here is geared towards maximizing energy efficiency.
Masdar does represent a whole different value system. It represents an acknowledgement that eventually everybody has to go in a different kind of direction, no matter how much money they have, no matter how much oil they have, no matter anything else. All of the cities here in this part of the world have come out of nowhere. There was nothing here not so long ago, except small settlements in the desert. And then all of this oil and all of this money, and suddenly, you know, wham, these cities started popping up. But they sprung up in a false love of a Western model that was already out of date. The model of the late 20th century automobile-based, energy-hogging city.
For most of the world, energy is very expensive. But the United Arab Emirates is sitting on 10% of the world's oil. And energy is cheap. So cheap, you can run a ski slope in a shopping mall and build the world's tallest skyscraper. But even here, cheap energy won't last forever, and the people behind Masdar are determined to find alternatives.
One of the most crucial aspects of our energy modelling and scenario quantification is how much energy in total is the world going to use in 2050.
The scenarios team is a bunch of people with rich imagination, I would say.
We have political scientists, economists, geopolitical experts.
Really, we try to simplify the complexity all around us.
We in the scenarios team are currently putting a lot of attention into cities and city development.
A lot of mega cities are going to be built in the coming decades.
We're talking about the equivalent of a new city of 1 million people every week. That is an incredible demand.
Most of the world's resources are consumed by the cities.
What if we could offer a blueprint for a better city? Public transportation, information, energy. We understand demand will rise. We understand that current supplies will struggle to keep pace. So we have to, of course, find ways of bridging the gap between the demand and the supply.
Decisions that we take now are going to have a major impact on decades to come.
There's enough oil under these sands to last 150 years. But fundamental to the Masdar ideal is getting energy from renewable sources, from geothermal and wind, and most of all, from a source they have in abundance in the desert, the sun. This field of solar panels makes more than enough electricity to run Masdar, and the excess power is sent to the Abu Dhabi grid. But silicon panels are expensive, and the price of solar power needs to drop if it's going to be competitive from Africa to Asia to Arizona. In the future, Masdar hopes to get energy from this prototype called the solar beam down. Using highly reflective mirrors, the solar beam down may generate power more cheaply and ecologically than silicon panels. The mirrors bounce the sun's rays up to the tower and then down to a point. Reaching a temperature of 600 degrees, steam can be generated, to run turbines to make electricity. There's just one problem. Neither of these solar technologies work at night. So Masdar needs to draw power from the grid when the sun goes down. And that power comes from natural gas. The reality is, it's just not yet possible to power Masdar entirely without fossil fuels.
The great challenge with Masdar will be, how do you make it a place that will not be just this ideal city that no other place could actually aspire to because it doesn't seem real? What Masdar has to be is a laboratory that develops things that then can be applied in existing cities all around the world, because that's where it will pay off. There's no payoff if it's just about itself. The payoff is, how can everything it's trying to do matter in the rest of the world?
Right now, there's only a store, 2 restaurants, a bank, and a few hundred students living here. It's too early to tell if Masdar will work as a city when it's finished. But much has been achieved. They are carbon neutral and largely powered by renewable energies. Solutions here won't work everywhere, though. Many cities are in cold climates, and cooling is not their energy problem. They need to let sunlight in, not keep it out. Cities like Los Angeles or Houston are built around cars. Can Masdar's lessons be applied to them? Still, it's a step in the right direction, and it's impressive that this step is being taken by a country that doesn't need to take it. I met a guy who said actually they did need to take it. He took me to the desert to explain.
God says, وَعَرَضْنَا الْأَمَانَةَ عَلَى السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَالْجِبَالِ. God talks about man's place in the universe. That this world is a trust. And God offered this trust to the mountains, to the heavens, to the land, to earth. And all refused it, refused to take this trust. But man, being adventurous, a bit vain, maybe too ambitious, being man, accepted it. Now, accepting it, there is a responsibility.
Taking responsibility isn't always easy. Utopia may be unattainable, but we must reach for it. And Masdar does give us a clue to what cities will be like in the future. They may not look quite like Masdar, but they will be shaped by the same concerns, by energy, where it comes from, and how it's used.
The way we've been building cities lately is unsustainable. We can't go on building them that way. But to say that we can't build cities the way we have been building them doesn't mean we can't build cities in the future. In fact, we have to build cities. Cities are the essential statement of human civilization. So we will continue to make them. But we have to make them in a different way.
What we've seen is that the world of 2050 won't look drastically different from the world today. But the challenges of a growing population and increased energy use demand real solutions. It's innovations like those we've just seen that will be critical in charting our path to the world of 2050.